Thank you everyone for joining us today. I wanted to introduce myself. I am the Vice President and Chief Compliance Officer for MARR. Jeff Ventries, who's the President of MARR, is on his way to Washington. So Jeff and a few other operators are actually, board members are going to be meeting with some representatives in Washington to do some advocacy work. So, and then they're going to be going to the best practices in Richmond, Virginia. So not sure how many people are actually going to be going there, but if you can't go, it'd be really nice if you could, there's still time to join the virtual portion. I believe it's $200 this year. And so it's for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But they're also looking at making the recordings available maybe for the next 30 days as well. So people that can attend on Monday through Wednesday, maybe you'll be able to just watch it at your own leisure when you do have time. So it'd be important for you to be a part of that if you can. So I want to introduce Kayla Hull. Kayla Hull is the project manager, which most of you have already, all of you actually. Kayla Hull.
Literally everyone.
Yeah, Kelly Darren. Kelly Darren is a project coordinator, and she's with RecCap. And Wally Slatinsky also is the outreach coordinator. And Wally works a lot with the state and the different PIHPs, and we're going to be working with RCOs and getting them on board as well. So let me see. We got looking for, I don't know, Eddie Killing's on here. He's one of our contractors. And then we have Brian Kennedy, who's also one of our contractors, if they're on here. Welcome. So, all right. Is Dr. Amy Miracle on here?
Hi there.
There she is.
So Dr. Amy Miracle was not able to make it today, but I'm the project director for the study.
Okay.
So I was hoping to just take a few minutes to talk about this national study that we're conducting.
That's great. Yeah. It's an NSTAR study, right?
Yep.
And so I'll go ahead and let you go ahead. And then if anyone has questions afterwards, they can feel free to reach out.
Great. And am I able to share my slides? I can try.
You should be able to share your computer, I would think. Yep, there we go. Share your screen.
Okay, you can see it?
Yep.
Great. Yeah, so we are gearing up to begin recruitment in Michigan of recovery residences. So I just wanted to take a moment just to introduce everybody to this study. It's the National Study of Treatment and Addiction Recovery Residences, which is a mouthful, so we call it NSTAR. And I just want to discuss briefly what the study is, why it's important, and how you can help out. So why is the study important? As many of you may know, there's not kind of a broad understanding of what recovery housing is. And as a result, it's often misunderstood and undervalued. So this study is really trying to be able to characterize what recovery housing is, where it exists, where it's limited, and who it serves and what communities are underserved. And with this information, people will be able to better advocate for this important component of recovery by demonstrating what recovery housing looks like across the country, and really increase kind of broader awareness of the importance of it. The study is funded by the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, NIAAA, and it's conducted by Dr. Amy Miracle, and several other co-investigators from the Public Health Institute's Alcohol Research Group and RTI International. And Dr. Amy Miracle is a former board member of MARR, and she also will be presenting on the study at the Best Practices meeting in Richmond later this month, actually next week. And she is widely recognized as a leading expert on recovery housing. The study has been, we've gotten input from 17 study experts, all leaders within the recovery housing field, including leadership from Oxford House, NAR, and SAMHSA. And there's two main aims to the study. So the first aim was to compile the most comprehensive database of recovery residences nationwide. As many of you may know, there's not even kind of a broad understanding or centralized database of what exists and where it exists. So through this study, we've finished that piece of the study. We've been able to identify over 10,000 residences in all 50 states and DC. Of course, this database needs constant updating because unfortunately, there's just a lot of turnover in this field. So a lot of residences close and a lot of new ones come up. So it's an ongoing process. The second part of the study is to take a random sample of 800 residences from the database and to ask them to complete a web-based survey where we collect a lot of information that allows us to better understand and characterize what recovering housing is, and also, you know, be able to describe how it's an important part of recovery services. So to date, we have 227 surveys that have been completed in the New England, Mid-Atlantic, and South Atlantic region. So we're kind of rolling out recruitment across the country and beginning to recruit in Michigan, where we have a target number of 10 recovery residences that we would like to survey. And they are randomly sampled. So that contributes to the scientific nature and credibility of the study, that they're not volunteers that are participating. So how can you help? Our experience so far is that people tend to be quite excited that we're doing this study and are very supportive of it, but getting folks to sit down and take the time to complete the survey, which takes about 30 to 40 minutes to complete online, has been very challenging. People in this line of work are always overstretched, overworked, and underpaid. And so we, trying to recruit them, you know, we come against that as a major challenge to get folks to set aside time to do this survey. How you can help is by completing the survey if you're invited to. So you'll most likely get a letter in the mail if you're randomly selected, and then receive phone calls and emails from the field team folks. So if you do get a call from us, and we're based in California, so you'll see California area codes. We're not telemarketers. We're trying to get you to participate. The other thing you can do if you're not randomly selected to participate in this study is just to help us get the word out about the study. If people know what it is, they're more likely to participate in it. And sometimes we have difficulty getting good contact information for a residence. So if you're able to connect us, I know sometimes you guys are better networked, definitely, than we are. if you could help connect us to residences and maybe put in a good word for the study, that would be greatly appreciated. And we're always open to any ideas for how we can improve our response rates, or any ideas you have to help get the word out. And also, I encourage you to contact us if you or somebody you know may want to volunteer to be in this study. I know I said that it's a random sample, but we are, because we're having such a hard time reaching our target numbers in different regions of the country, we are inviting some people to volunteer to complete the survey. And then just wanted to introduce you to the field team staff. So I'm Adrienne, the project coordinator, and Jayla Burton is involved in doing recruitment, and so is Colleen Barrett, who's also a research associate. And you may get a phone call from them. So just wanted you to see their faces and hear their names. And here's contact information for me if you want to follow up with me in any way. If we have time, I'm open to answering any questions, or if anybody has any comments or anything.
Anybody have any questions? Or interested in maybe volunteering, just in case you're not reached? These studies are really important to funding and the future of recovery residences too, and just helps to continue to help us grow. So
what I can, yeah, and I can put, if you want to volunteer to participate, I can put a link in the chat where you would just fill out, it's an online form just with some basic information that you could fill out, and then we could send you a link to complete the survey.
Thank you. You could do that. That would be great. Well, I'm sorry Amy couldn't be here, but I'm glad that you were able to be here and tell us about your study. So we'll make sure that, could you send me the information as well? I think Jeff Ventries, you sent the information to him, or Amy shared it with him?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then we'll make sure that the operators have that as well.
Okay. Thank you so much for the time and support.
Thank
There are
you.
people wondering as well if we'll have access to that PowerPoint.
Oh yeah. Let's see, I can email it to you and maybe you can send it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be helpful. There's a couple people in the chat that say they're willing to participate, so that link will be very helpful.
Okay, wonderful. Great, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
One last thing is also, we want to make sure that all of you are represented in our database. So maybe you don't want to participate in the survey, but if you want to just make sure that your residence is included, that would be super helpful too. So filling out the form that I will send you a link to would allow you to just share that information without participating in the survey. So.
Well, on the MARR site, all the certified operators, you have that main information. Okay. But as far as sharing the individual home addresses and stuff, we just would want to make sure that that's kept safe.
Yes.
Okay. So
yeah. It's only for research purposes, so we understand. So we can geocode where things are located, but it's not. Nobody can drill down and see details, and it's just for research purposes.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. All right. Let's see. Kelly Darren. Kelly, do you have anything you want to update on RecCap? What's been going on with that?
Oh, so we currently are in the place that we are away.
Hear you very well.
Can you hear me? Let me turn it up and see. I was having trouble with my camera the other day, so hopefully it's not the speaker today. Can you hear me?
It's very quiet.
It's just a little muffled.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just do that. So essentially where we're at right now with RECAP, all of our certified operators have been contacted. It was communicated to me that the online learning system is supposed to be done by tomorrow. What that means essentially is once you start onboarding into the RECAP system, all of the trainings for yourself and for anyone that will be navigating in the system will be available online. And that means that you can do it at any time. We don't have to schedule a Zoom. It could be midnight if that's when you get done, with your workday or whatever. So I think that's going to increase the convenience remarkably in being able to get the trainings completed. So that's really exciting. I have been working with quite a few folks. It has been a little bit delayed just because we are waiting on that training system to start up again. But if any of you that are on here now, like I said, I used the contact information that we have when you completed your certification. And that was the email address that the information was sent to. What I said in the email was that if it's not this specific person, could you please forward to the individual in the organization so that I can get in touch with them as well. So if there's any of you that have not heard, did not receive an email, have any questions, concerns, anything like that, I'll go ahead and put my email right into the chat as well. Please reach out. Let me know if you have any needs, if you have any concerns, if you have any questions. And then I will be, once I have laid eyes on that training system and we know that it's functioning properly, I'll be sending out an email to let everyone know that we're ready to move into the next stage. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So like I said, I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat just so that everyone has that available. Anytime, just shoot me an email. Any questions, concerns, I'm happy to help. And then again, just kind of keep an eye out for that email from me, letting you know what steps need to be taken to continue the onboarding process.
Great,
Is there
thank
any-
you.
Mhm.
Does anyone have any questions for Kelly?
Feel free to unmute yourself if you do.
All right, then we'll go to Wally. Wally, do you have any updates on anything that you've been working on?
Not really, Catherine. The only two things that I wanted to, I'm not sure we gave this information out before, but I'm going to put in chat two websites that one of them, both of them actually have opportunities to attend free webinars, free trainings, and they also have just all kinds of news that they put on their websites in regard to things going on in the recovery community across the country. And I'll put those two websites in chat and you can take advantage of that if you'd like. Thanks. That's it.
Great. Anyone have any questions for Wally? All right, Kayla's going to go in the end. So one thing that I wanted to talk about today, and then we can open it up for discussion on whatever else anyone else would like to talk about, is I get a lot of calls or I'll get a lot of emails about different things, asking my advice on different things. And one thing that comes up a lot is working with the LGBTQ community. So I wanted to open up a discussion between the operators to see, are you working with anyone from that community? Have you had experiences with an individual come into your home that doesn't necessarily meet the population that you're currently serving there? What have you done? Are there some success stories or some struggles? I just thought it'd be good for the operators to kind of talk about things and see what works. I really think it's important that everybody try to find room in your homes. If you're large enough too, maybe you could have a co-ed home. Or maybe there could be a room where maybe I don't like single rooms, I really discourage that. But I don't know, just kind of want to hear what other people are doing and what you think. And because at the end of the day, everyone deserves an opportunity to get better and be in a loving, supportive, healthy environment. And can anybody reach out and say what they're doing and if you had that experience? Does anybody have any questions or concerns about something that maybe we can help answer?
So Catherine, I'll go. Can you hear me?
Yes, Chris.
How you doing, Catherine? So we're located here in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Reach Sober Living. And interestingly enough, we were approached by a coalition, LGBTQ coalition, actually who works with SWIMBA in some capacity, don't know the capacity, and asked, would we be open to opening a home up? However, the home would only take in that population, not a mixed population. So that's something I was going to ask. I don't know if anybody else on the call has any experience in that, and can that be a form of, per se, discrimination, right? If you say, I only have this house for these particular individuals, can that be a form of discrimination? I didn't tell the individual.
Good question.
Yeah, I didn't tell the individual no. I said I was, and this just happened, Catherine. So I had an email fired up, Grace, sent to you, because I don't know. But again, I didn't say no. I didn't say yes. I said this is something that we most definitely have to look into, because again, they want the house to be kind of a specialty house in a sense.
Let me comment real quick on that, where I used to be an operator as well. And I kind of look at that as we were asked at one time to have a home in a rural location. So we opened up a home in Wayland, and we had like 2 people. You know, the county really wanted us to have people, but we had hardly anybody was there. I mean, so how are we going to pay the rent, and how are we going to pay the bills if people aren't coming in? I believe that may be a concern as well. If you have a home just specifically for a specific population, is there any kind of guarantee that maybe the county will actually pay for additional beds, even though they're not filled, just so you can actually still keep your doors open? Or there's just a lot of questions. And I understand why individuals would want a home like that, to make sure that there's a home with other individuals, understanding everything that they're going through as well, which would be a really good support for them. It's a tough one. Does anyone have any comments?
Stacy Kurz with Hollywood Recovery Homes.
Hey, Stacy.
Hi. I have an LGBTQ plus house in Macomb County. We've been open a little bit over a year. And so initially it started as just that community, and then we ran into that exact thing that you were talking about. I was either full and on a waiting list or had empty beds and wasn't able to fill them. So we've kind of learned as we gone, because there's not a really good example of a home like this, at least that I'm aware of. So we have morphed into an LGBTQ friendly plus house, which means the majority of the residents are part of that community, and any other residents who do not consider themselves part of that community are aware that that is a home for that community and must be supportive and accepting of those residents. So that's how we've worked that out. It seemed to be working well so far. The other issue is that single rooms seem to be best in this situation.
Yeah, that was my question. It just, what do you do when it comes to sharing a room?
Well, our second client was a trans male to female who was coming from a prison rehabilitation office where they had her housed with the men, but she was sleeping in someone's office on the floor for her own safety.
Oh.
And so that was one of the first residents we have, which I think is heartbreaking, because everybody deserves a safe place to recover regardless of any of that. But for that reason, we realized that single rooms in this situation seems to be the way to go. I guess If the mix is right, if there's two, let's say two gay men that are willing to share a room, that would work. But with this, we have a lot of trans or things like that. It's not always, so it's both genders in the home, but we do have single rooms in that home.
So you brought up another concern, safety. Safety is always a concern as well. So unfortunately, there's no one way to do any of this, but I just ask that everybody try to, I love that we're talking about things so we can figure out what can you do with your program that can open the doors to other individuals that might not be the same like the individuals that are living in your home currently. But at the same time, you got to know, are the individuals in the home going to be accepting? And I like what you did. You know, they already know that this is a type of home and there's going to be a mix and they're aware before they even come in the door. Versus I've heard somebody say, well, maybe they thought that it would be best to talk to all the residents in the home first. Hey, we've got Joe Schmo coming this way and this is the situation. And it's none of their business. We don't want to talk about personal stuff about an individual. But at the same time, we want them to be aware that they have a right to have recovery as well and be supported, like you said.
I'm sorry, were you still speaking, Stacy?
No, I'm done.
Okay. Hi, my name is Crystal and I'm with the Mother's Touch. And in our home, we do offer single rooms, but in terms of the LGBTQ population, so far we've had women who were considered bisexual, but were moms, right? And so that's been our experience with that population. And there was no issue, like there was no safety issue or concern that came up, and it wasn't about one of them trying to romanticize one of the other moms. We didn't have that experience, but we have had women who identified as bisexual.
Another thing possibly too is to have in the language in your rules automatically where when you view and do an intake with an individual, they understand that this home also works. We work with all genders and in LGBT community, and they agree that they will be supportive and they understand the situation. Also, you can be moved from one bed to another at any time for any reason, and just what the expectations are, in the home, and they need to sign it and agree to it that they're aware. It's tough subject. It's a tough subject. Does anyone else?
Can I ask real quick, Stacy, did you say you have experience with, you guys have a men's house or you just said women?
Initially, we had men's houses.
Okay.
There was I know a situation that one of the operators, they have all men homes and they had a referral and the person's name, I'll say John, they were going by John and they were coming from a treatment facility. Well, John showed up to go into the homes and John was obviously a female. The looks was a female, was very intact and they weren't quite sure how that was going to work. They found a home where they did have a single room at the time. And there were some long-term residents that were there in the home. They've been there for some of them for a couple of years and stuff. And it was a smaller environment. It ended up working out really well, actually. Everyone got along well and person felt supported and ended up having a roommate as well. And because they filled up and it was a success story. The person didn't stay longer than 3 months, but that was their one experience that they weren't sure how it was gonna work. And I'll say it too, like the person identified as a male, but was obviously a female. So putting that person, in my mind, putting them in a male home for me, it could be a safety risk for them. You know, what if they got raped, or what if, you know, there's just, you just don't know, you know, so it's, you want to have a safe environment for everybody. And so any other ideas, or anyone have experiences with anything, or how things could work, or how you can welcome individuals into your homes?
Hi, my name is
Oh, go ahead.
AJ Lee. I'm
Where are we
from Dawn
going?
Oh,
Farm.
Okay.
hi, you're from Dawn Farms?
I am, yes.
Oh, good. Yeah, they're just
Hi.
gonna be new operators coming on board.
Yes, we pretty soon. What we have done at Dawn Farm Recovery is we upon entry into our housing units, it is communicated to them that we are a LG, I don't know all the letters, forgive me, but
Okay.
friendly facility. And we go over with them, and a lot of them come from some of our other programs, so that we've been monitoring, you know, and kind of seeing and making sure that they understand where we are. And also our staff is also friendly in that area as well. And so I think as long, we really haven't had a lot of issues with that. Everybody, if we do have someone who has an issue with it, and if they prefer to be moved, then we try to do our best for that. But we really haven't had very many instances where someone feels unsafe, at least not a lot that I'm aware of, because we're able to have that conversation prior to them coming in. So I think communication, like someone else said, is really the key. Once you let them know, you know, what type of housing unit you are, and what it is that you do, people tend to kind of fall in line. I mean, they've come that far in their recovery. They want to kind of play ball, so to speak, until they're done. So by the time they get to recovery housing, the chances of an issue, unless of course safety, but the chances, I think by that point, are less. And again, this is speaking from majority, not everyone, but a lot of our
starting
people
route
that
to
come in.
Alano's, Brooklyn County. Head northeast on Carriage Circle Drive.
Kim, you want to mute yourself? Kim K?
Oh, I thought she was asking a question.
I mean,
But anyway, but that's basically what we found, is that we assess everyone in the beginning and let them know what's going on. If they've come from some of the other programs, we kind of already know who may or may not have a problem, and we go from there. But
So you say other programs, so you have treatment facility as well, right?
We
So you have
do.
step down programs for your,
Exactly.
that makes sense. Thank you, AJ. Preston? did you
Yeah,
have something?
this is Preston from Recovery Road in Grand Rapids. Yeah, I've had multiple people. Some were in transition, others are either bi or lesbian. And I find that historically we have not had a lot of friction with them coming to the house and feeling unwelcomed. The two things that we do that helps, or at least minimizes potential misunderstandings, is one is during the orientation process or coordinating them possibly coming to us. You know, we talk to them, or we talk to the counselor that they've worked with in treatment, just to get a better understanding of where they're at. And then that helps us to place them in a certain bedroom or a certain house. But another part of it is that it's just maintaining the cultures in the homes that, you know, we're of what we all have in common, which is we're all here to improve our lives and have a life of recovery. And so that you're creating more of that mentor, family-like environment and mentality, that we're here as a support system. And like many others said, it has not led to any problems. So
Right, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Preston. What's your thought about what Chris had brought up originally, like he was approached about opening up a home specifically for the LGBTQ population, on those that are in between, you know, they're not identifying as male or female. What's your thought about having a home just for that population?
I know
The
Recovery
area.
Road at one point did have a house that was for LGBTQ. And given that we're in the Grand Rapids area and we have a very diverse surrounding group of people, we almost did fill it up. But like I believe I heard someone else say, you can't consistently keep it filled up where it makes good business sense. So then we kind of took a step back, reviewed things, and went to that we mix this population in with others. And so, yes, just because there's just not enough to really dictate or make it make sense that you'd only have one house.
Right. Well, hopefully funding will increase, right, for everybody, and then we can actually make some changes and open up homes for specific populations if that's what the county that we're working in would like us to do. But it's definitely a need, and it's definitely something, if you haven't experienced somebody coming to your door yet saying, I want to go in your woman's home, and they identify as a woman, but they obviously here as a man. You're concerned maybe about your women as well. If you haven't experienced that, you will. So it's not if, it's when. So it's important. I really wanted to talk about this today just to make sure that everybody think about what you can do in your homes, and it would just help maybe make your homes better, you know, embracing other individuals, you know, that are going through something else. But also at the same time, reaching out to the county if they want you to have a specific home, like Chris was saying. Will they pay for the empty beds? Will they pay for a minimum of 6 beds, let's say, for example, whether they're filled or not? So you know that even though you only have 2 people in the home, you can still make ends meet and pay your bills and stuff.
Good idea.
Anybody have any more questions or comments about that?
I do. I have a comment.
Ms. Wilson or Kim K, which one?
Miss Wilson.
Okay, Ms. Wilson.
Miss Wilson from Elmhurst.
Hi.
Would it really, and my question is, would it really be discriminatory to have that type of housing? Because first we would have to consider the location, because we would have to be located somewhere where we're available to that community. How discriminatory would it be when we have all male houses, all female houses? We have houses for teenage pregnant women. Why would that be so discriminatory?
Where it would be discriminatory, and one of the ways is you have a home for women. Let's say, well, you have an individual that maybe they were born a male, and it's none of our business, right? We can't ask that either. But they say, I identify as a female, and I want to live in a female home. I just feel more comfortable with that. So, and then you say, no, you can't live here because you're obviously a male, and this is just for women. Well, you just opened yourself up to being sued, possibly, because that person was discriminated against. They want to be recognized. They say that they need to be recognized, that they identify as a female, then they need to be recognized as such. Now, if you don't have any beds available at that time, or maybe maybe you want individuals that come to your home to have like their own room or own space, and you can't accommodate at that time, that's one thing, but you can't turn around and say, because I look at you as being a male, you can't live with my females. You know, there's no one answer, and there's no easy answer. But again, I can't stress enough that it's really important that you don't discriminate. So if you can't have an individual in your home for one reason or the other, make sure it's not a discriminatory reason. But yeah.
We haven't had that issue in recovery housing here at Elmhurst. We just haven't had that issue. And I'll say yet, because it could happen. We just haven't had it yet.
Okay.
And I'm glad we haven't. We just stress the accountability of clients coming here, being able to trust the coach that they're under, that if they do have some concerns about anything, that they can come to not just their coach, but any one of us, especially myself as the supervisor. I have an open door policy. So when the clients have issues of any kind, not just that kind, I'm open-minded enough to help them get the correct answer if I don't have it. So we have not had that issue yet, and we have had bi and men who consider themselves gay. We just haven't had the issue yet.
And there should be a rule in place where there's no fraternizing as well,
Right.
you know, with anybody in the home, you know, that should automatically be in place.
That's a written rule.
Right. I would recommend as well that everybody reach out to your local CMH, your area that you're in, and see if there's LGBT, it's really difficult for me to say sometimes too, Q community trainings in some way. Sometimes I sent out something a couple months ago that I got from one of the counties, and it was an opportunity. So just educate yourselves and educate the people that are in your homes, so that they're understanding that, you know, maybe they're understanding the population a little bit more, and they'll be more willing to be accepting of somebody. Kim K, did you?
Yeah, I have a female that is gay that cannot stay with females because she basically is a predator of females. So she has a really hard time staying away from them if she's living in that environment, which hinders her recovery. So, you know, I opened up the male house to her because like really the direction we want to go is to help somebody in their recovery, because then the rest of their life can change, you know. But again, those issues. I've also had situations where male identified as a female and was bullied in male houses, and I put him in with females, and there was all kinds of trouble there because of how he dressed and this way that he was, and like his he was very seductive to anybody, and so there was trouble, and I believe that there was mental health issues going on with that as well. And so then I moved him into the male house, and as I said, he identified as a female, and that didn't work out either. So sometimes it's very difficult, to deal with where they're at in their head in that process. So it was really, really a difficult transition. I tried my best to accommodate the situation, and ultimately, unfortunately, he didn't make it, and he passed away. So, it's just a very sad, hard, difficult way to live. So you're already challenged with addiction, and then you're challenged with identity. You know what I'm saying? So
Not feeling accepted.
Yep.
With any population.
Yep. So, you know, you know, as long as the people are doing what they're supposed to do in the house, I don't mind. And I just kind of like, just give that information to the other people in the house. If I can put them in a room by themselves so they feel more comfortable, then, you know, that's what I try to do.
One comment I want to make on that is, talked about bullying. There should be a zero tolerance in all of your homes against any kind of bullying, zero tolerance, not just, you know, against using again, but if an individual's creating a toxic environment there, that's a very unhealthy environment for everybody else that's living in that home too. So if there's any situation with any kind of bullying, that needs to be addressed and the individual should be removed as far as I'm concerned. But
Yeah,
that should not be tolerated.
It makes it a really hard thing. It's a he say, she say thing, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it makes it really difficult if you're not there, what is really going on. So it's, you know, as much as you want to handle things delicately in those situations, it can be difficult. So.
And it
Yeah,
sounds like you
definitely
tried to
remote.
work with them and transfer them from one place to the other to try to
Oh yeah, for
work
sure.
with the individual. Thank you for sharing that.
Yep. Yep.
Kyle?
Catherine, we have both a women's house and two men's houses, and we have worked with, we had an individual who was going through a gender transition in one of the men's houses, and it worked out. It worked out fine for the time being, but ultimately the question for us is always, is it going to impact good order and discipline of the house? Is it going to impact everybody's recovery in the house? It's ultimately not an individual. We have to look at that individual and go, whatever their situation they're in, is it going to affect everybody in the house? And ultimately, we refer to the residents currently living in the house to help us make that decision. And this one worked out.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, sounds like you kind of outed the person before they came in. Hey, we got this coming in the door. Is that what
No,
you
they
did?
actually stayed at the house.
They were at the house and they already knew. Yeah.
It worked out. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it just seems like,
Kathy,
just notifying people up front. Yes.
I'm sorry. I just think what he was saying was he let the other people know that the situation is happening. And I think that everybody should know what's happening. It's a knowledge that they need to understand. So their opinions do matter. Everybody's opinion matters.
Yeah.
Really. And I think that's what he was saying.
But then you have individuals, because I've heard, I was talking to some other individuals that are kind of going through this life change themselves, and they're telling me they don't want people to know. They, I say I'm a female and just accept me as a female. It's none of your business if I'm going through any kind of changes in my life. It's none of your business if I was born male or female. And it's true. It's true. I get it. They just want to be treated like everybody else, but it's a very delicate situation, like you said, Kim.
Yeah, and I would rather take the position of being more of a devil's advocate, or at least argue the opposite, which is I know when I'm working with my house managers and directors, I mean, yes, it's always good to get the house's opinions on different things, especially when it comes to improving quality of service. But I would caution about people based on their own biases and sometimes small picture thinking, that they can sometimes come to the wrong conclusion. And I always sometimes I intentionally force things upon a house that they may not be comfortable with up front, but I treat it as it's a good learning experience for people to raise the bar of their thinking and also have opportunity to raise the standard of how they operate through this life. Because, there's just so many people that through prejudices, biases, implicit biases, that they never learn to grow. So I'm just going to throw that out there as the arguing
That's
now.
really well said, Preston. I appreciate that, and I agree with you completely.
Heidi, do you have experience in your program?
I have lots of thoughts about the matter, but not so much experience.
Well, please share your thoughts. That's what this is about. This is just a discussion.
Yeah, I would recommend, like you were saying before, take some trainings on the LGBTQ plus community. I'm hearing a lot of pronouns being thrown around, and I think that's an important part about treating people equally. And so if someone identifies as female and they are requesting to be called by she, her pronouns, that's what we should be doing. I think that's a part of kind of acceptance. So yeah, that's my thought. And I think in general, how we are going to conduct things going forward is that we should kind of assume that there are going to be people in the LGBT community in the house. I don't know necessarily that we have to out the person, but I think we should assume that that's the case. And I think that that's what we should tell the residents going forward when they come into the house as a part of the orientation process.
Thank you for sharing that. And again, the education, I just think it's so important when you're talking about pronouns, and some of us are like, what's a pronoun? What do you mean? What's they or she, they, or it's very confusing for individuals that haven't come from that lifestyle and stuff. So educating ourselves so that we know and we can understand and use the correct pronouns for individuals it's really important, and training our residents that live with us.
Absolutely. And like what Preston said is kind of pushing people outside of their comfort zone. And that's a big part of recovery and growing, that we're accepting of other people.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, Heidi. So we only have a few minutes left. So we could actually bring this subject up again at the next meeting if you'd like to, but I know I wanted to give the floor to Kayla because she had some updates that she wanted to give you. Go ahead, Kayla.
Yeah, basically just regarding the MARR standards trainings that we had already informed all of you about. It looks like we have 38 operators / house managers of 21 programs that have started the MARR trainings, which is great. That is about a third of you, though. We would love to see more people get started on those trainings. They're incredibly necessary and very helpful. It seems as one person has still only completed everything so far, and that was Brandy Clayton with Recovery Services Unlimited. So thank you.
I completed it too.
Well, yes. But more operators and house managers. We would love to see more of those. But outside of a couple of new people that came in, we do still have until June. The current operators we already have, we still have until June of next year to complete those, but you know how procrastination sets in. So if anyone has any questions about those or has any concerns or literally anything, just send me an email. Or if you even need the link to the MARR trainings, I can send that out again. Unfortunately, we can't post it on the website because we can't have that just out there available to anyone. But we got to remember too that these trainings are incredibly expensive and they are free to all of us here in Michigan. And we would definitely love more of you to take advantage of that as soon as possible.
As a certified operator.
As a certified operator.
They're free to you, yeah. But yeah, it's like, it's $1,000, I believe it's $1,000 for an individual to do a training that's not certified. You would go to the MARR site, or the NAR site rather, and do that. But do one a week. Do one a week, or, you know, just kind of 45 minutes, set that time aside so you get that taken care of and stuff, because I know a lot of you, and I'm looking at Ty Bethany right now, and I know that there's not enough hours in the day to live your life, and you're working 2 or 3 jobs, and, you know, but please try to take time to, because it will affect your certification. The certification will be removed until these are done. So please make sure we give you a full year to get this taken care of. So please don't hesitate and procrastinate on that.
Right. And again, to any new operators that are on here, that does not apply. If you came in with the notice of this MARR training, then that is completed for your certification. That you do not have a year for that. Just wanted to put that out there. Any current already certified operators that were already in place before the training became a thing has until June of next year.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Oh, Kamisha?
No, this is Crystal.
Crystal, okay.
Yes, by chance, with the trainings, do they count towards CPRM certifications also, or no?
There's no CPR in that. You would get that from your local county.
No, peer recovery coach, CPRM, certified peer recovery mentors. Would that, I'm just curious. Would any of those trainings, or no?
I'm not positive. I'm not.
Okay.
The trainings are on the NAR standards.
Okay.
Okay. That's what it is. So there's like a 4-hour specific training just regarding Michigan and Michigan operators, and because every state is different. And then there's the 20-hour NAR standards training, and that just basically walks you through the standards and helps you understand. And for new operators, to even existing operators, it gives you tons of information and forms you can use, and for new operators, you could have your own policy manual by the time you're done with the trainings. It's very valuable information.
Yeah, they're created by the top experts in recovery. So every program, new or old, will benefit from it, even those who think they've known what they're doing for years. So there's a lot of information that I bet you'll still gain from it.
But there's nothing specifically for recovery coaching here.
I just had to ask, because you know, if you're in the social work world, in that world, you're always looking for CEUs or something.
And there is an opportunity, if you're looking for credits, then there is an additional 5-hour training, I think it is, from NAR, that you would reach out to NAR though, and let them know that you're interested in getting credits. And then they have specific trainings after that you can do. And I think they charge like $35 or something like that just to do these other trainings so you can get your credits. And then you'll actually have like almost 30 hours of credit.
Okay.
Towards that. So, and I think isn't that kind of what you guys have to have anyway? 30
yeah.
Like 30?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be beneficial.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next week again is the Best Practice Summit at Richmond, Virginia, and next year we'll be here in Michigan, and I'm really excited about that. So thank you everybody for attending, and if you haven't signed up yet for the Richmond one, there's still time. If you go to the NAR website, the National Alliance for Recovery Residents, you can sign up for the conference to do it virtually. And it's worth your time. Thank you so much again.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.